Rob and Slim Show.
Hey, it's Laura Cayouette.
Laura Cayouette, how are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good, good. Just was like sitting down at the time, so like trying to sit down, take a jacket off, and talk. It was too much at once. Too much at once. How are you doing,
Well, get
Laura?
it together.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Do we even ask that anymore? My year has been heinous. How are you?
Same. Frazzled,
Yeah.
worn out. It's rough. I feel like these years now they're like dog years ever since that
Oh, I
whole
know.
COVID thing started. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But are you ready? Are you ready for the Christmas holiday?
I've got like a few more gifts to get and stuff to wrap and stuff to ship, and everything's going to be late if I don't get it in on time, et cetera, et cetera. But other than that, I'm hanging in there.
Nice. Yeah, I'm all set. Slim just said today that he just realized it's next week. So.
Yeah, I ordered a bunch of gifts. My buddy last night was like, "Oh, we're exchanging our gifts on Friday," and I'm like, "I didn't order anything for anyone." So luckily, I was able to go onto Amazon with the Amazon Prime, and I have all my gifts for all my friends coming on Friday that I ordered today.
They're coming
Well,
just in
even
time.
Amazon Prime isn't all on time though. Even
No.
that's like wonky. I mean, yours will be because it says it will. But like
Yeah.
today, I ordered something from Amazon that was on 2 day, and it said it would arrive sometime between the 19th and the 22nd.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
was like, oh, okay.
Oh, geez. What's your favorite thing about this season, Laura?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. The food.
Yes, that's one of my go-tos. The food. I like decorating the tree.
Well,
I
because I
always
would
have.
say family, except for this year, it's like, family is like, it's scary to go to families' houses, and I lost a lot of family this year, so there'll be a lot of empty tables and chairs,
Yeah.
and it's just it's a weird year.
Yeah. What do you? It's like, what do you do? What do you do?
Nothing,
It's
man.
rough,
Get
yeah.
through it.
Yeah. Just keep going. That's it's rough. Hopefully we get some relief in one of these years coming up. I
Yeah,
don't know though.
fingers crossed.
It's been a
Fingers
couple
crossed.
already. It's been a couple years already. Oh jeez. But last we spoke, you had just released a new edition of your book, No Small Parts.
Yes, I had.
How's that been doing?
Pretty well. I'm very happy with the book, and I think a year later that I'm still the only person who has a chapter on Me Too issues.
That's
and
one thing
think
that I
I'm
think
the
is
most.
amazing.
Yeah, well, and I have very current information on self-taping, which is now just basically how we audition. So,
That's cool.
that it's doing well, but it should be because it's very current, and it was a good book before.
Yes, that's cool. Was that what you added in the last revision, or?
I added about 70 new pages. So 2 of the chapters were those 2 that I just described, and then I also added some sections in the commercials chapter. I had to revamp everything because everything had changed in the last 7 years, and then I added a chapterette on conventions, because even though right now we don't have a lot of signing conventions, when things reopen up and everybody's traveling again a lot, conventions will be back in swing, and that's another revenue source for actors that used to really only be for, where careers would go to die kind of thing, but now it's like where you announce your new Marvel movie,
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay,
true. And I was going to ask you, you mentioned commercials changing in the past 7 years. What was the big change?
Well, sadly, a lot of it has to do with them figuring out new ways to rip us off.
Oh, that sucks.
So that's a lot of it. But and the biggest change is that there's so many new ways of receiving commercials.
That's
Commercials
what I
are
was
now part
thinking.
of, whether it's streaming or on your phone or in your Facebook feed or whatever. Commercials are now everywhere.
Yeah.
And so there's all kinds of new contracts and all that kind of stuff that has to do with the new ways we see commercials.
I was wondering too, with with them being in more places or more available, if the pay had gone down from that. I don't know. It just kind of seemed like it would.
It has, and when you get a national network, they'll try and do just about anything they can to not call it that, so they don't have to pay you those fees. So. Not as big a problem for me here in New Orleans because here we don't shoot as many commercials. But in LA, that was half my income.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How often do you have to be on on the go for auditions when you're doing that many? It's got to be a lot.
Oh, it was a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was like, it was like a part-time job. I would go out several times a week for auditions.
What was one of your favorite commercials that you did?
I've been blessed because I've done a lot of really good commercials and really fun commercials, but the two that were the most fun both got pulled.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because one ran for a year, and then I was in the middle of contract renegotiations to have it run for another year to 3 years. And it was for American Airlines when they had just created more legroom. And when I went in for the audition, I was like, I did all the lines, and then when I was done, I was like, is this real? Are they really going to have more legroom on American Airlines? And they were like, yeah. And I was all excited because I'm so tall, and legroom is, I'm all about legroom. So I was very excited. And it was a super cute commercial where I played a flight attendant who somebody asked for more legroom, and I said, sure. And I whip out a drill, and I move I drill the seat in front of him and move it forward so that he has more legroom. And then somebody further down the aisle says, oh, miss, and wants me to come fix his chair. So that's the commercial. Really super cute.
That's cool.
And my contract renegotiations happened during the week of 9/11, and on that day, they pulled the commercial and were like, yeah, no more drills on airplanes commercials. That's the end of that.
Oh, wow. I just thought maybe the tickets weren't selling as much. Maybe because of that. But
no.
I didn't even think along that. Wow.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that, when bad things happen, and of course, how could I even possibly compare the ripple that affected me to what happened to the people of New York and the people in that building and their families? But one of the ripple effects was that, stole money out of my pocket.
Yeah.
I guess we never even really think about things like that, right? Like you wouldn't think because this event happened, all these commercials aren't playing anymore.
I never would have thought.
Well, you wouldn't have to think about it.
Well, yeah, 'cause
I have to think about it.
Yeah, it's not noticeable to the public, but wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and the other one was this really cute commercial, very funny, where it was another travel thing. It was for cheaptickets.com, and the tagline was, "You're cheap, so are we." And so the commercial was of me walking down the street in an Armani suit, and I pass a blind homeless man who is looking for money in a tip jar, kind of thing, and I put paper money into the jar and then reach in to get change. And then the tag says, cheap tickets, you're cheap, so are we. That was a very funny commercial. But apparently I'm incredibly insensitive because apparently the blind community was like, that's just nasty. So,
you gotta watch. You can't they get.
Well, how did the blind community even see it?
Exactly. I told these people what was happening.
Somebody had to tell them.
Well, I can afford to be insensitive because I don't have that in my life, and I don't have anybody in my life that suffers. So I really don't have the answer to how they would know because I don't live with that, and I don't know anybody in my life that does. So I assumed that was a thing that did hurt people's feelings, and so enough is enough. But I thought it was cute before I found that out. So
that's it. Sometimes people just go way too far with things.
Well, and maybe we went too far. Who knows?
Who knows? You never know.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I was going to ask you too. I saw in your Twitter bio that it says you're a pussyfooter. What does that mean?
I am. I'm a dancer in the Mardi Gras parade.
I thought almost like like a burlesque dancer or something. But
yes, very much. We wear costumes that are uniforms, but our uniforms are very much like burlesque wear. And we wear our signature pieces that we always have are our pink corset and our white combat boots. And then the rest of the uniform changes every 2 years. So like one year we had sort of a superhero theme, another year we had sort of a Western saloon theme. We have different themes to the rest of the outfit. Cool. But yeah, if you go to my Twitter or you go to my Facebook, you're bound to see pictures of me in some fabulous concoction that's a version of the pink corset and white combat boots.
I meant to ask you that the last 2 times we had you on, like what that meant. Yeah, that's cool. And are the parades still going on with the pandemic?
Well, they hadn't been, but now we just did the Halloween parade, and that was the first parade that had rolled in New Orleans, since the shutdown in March of 2020.
Okay.
So, so the Halloween parade rolled, and we rolled with it, and everything went well, and we did not have a spike in COVID after the parade, so the city went ahead and is moving forward with the Mardi Gras parades.
Cool.
We did cancel the Christmas parade, but that had to do less with COVID and, it had to do with the effects of COVID, which is to say they couldn't get the money and the security and all that together to throw the Christmas parade.
Gotcha. And even up here, like the spikes and all, I've only been noticing people getting them when the new strains come out and all. So hopefully we can get this thing under wraps.
Well, and we get everything because we're an international tourist destination.
Yeah, that's
so
a
anybody
major
who has
place.
Anything, yeah, we get everything. Like Omicron arrived here the first days they were talking about Omicron. I was right here.
I was like,
right away.
It sounds like a robot. It sounds like a transformer.
I know, right?
Where'd they get that name? The last one was like Delta, or was that what it was? Delta?
Yeah, it was Delta. How do you go from Delta to Omicron?
Yeah, Omicron.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to keep it all straight because, of course, we have hurricanes, and we all got hit by Zeta a year and a half ago, and now this year was Ida was the big one. But a year and a half ago, Zeta was the big one. And so we've been, Delta, Zeta, whatever. It sounds like a fraternity around here.
That's it. So, I feel like a frat's behind a lot of this stuff.
Maybe that's why they chose Omicron for this strain, because it sounds more like a villain and not like...
Oh, no. That's like the last word in a Greek frat. Like Beta Alpha Omicron. Yeah. That's it. We just figured it out.
The 27th letter.
I was going to ask too, Laura, what's the correct way to say New Orleans? Is it Narlands? Like, if you're down there.
I made that up. I do know what they were trying to say when they did that, but I don't know why they went with that version of events, because nobody here says Nolans.
Okay. That's like when people think we say New Jersey. Nobody says that. Up here.
No, we do combine it into one word, but if I were to spell it, instead of N-A-W, which is what they do, what I would say is N-E-W or N-U, W-A, O-R-L-I-N-S, New Orleans. We don't say New Orleans.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's
we say New Orleans.
Okay. Cool. Nice.
Yeah, and we do squish it all into one word, but it's not Nolans. I've never met anybody who says that. The only people who say that are people on NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
And we do say New Orleans if we're trying to rhyme it in a song. I mean, that's if you say, do you know what it means to miss New Orleans? You can't say, do you know what it means to miss New Orleans?
Yes. Yeah, so it's like potato.
We do say New Orleans if a song is doing it, but That's it.
Nice. That's cool. I was going to ask too, I'm sorry.
But I was going to finish up on the Pussyfooters. We're a group of over 100 women who are all over 30, and we do about 50 nonprofit events per year. where we assist in other nonprofits events. And then we have our own ball, a Mardi Gras ball called Blush Ball, and that money goes for domestic violence survivors. And every year we raise around $30,000 for victims of domestic violence. So that's a very good program that we've got going. And then we parade all year as well. We parade, like I said, during Carnival and all the holiday parades, but we also parade, like there's an event every year, well, of course, every year except last year, called Festigals. That's a big women's event convention that comes into town every year. We parade throughout the year as well.
Cool.
So it's a really fun group to be a part of because we're always doing something. And it's a lot of really cool women. There's, doctors and nurses, lawyers, teachers, it's all kinds of women.
That's cool.
And we were the first group to assemble 21 years ago. But since then, there's now over 50 of these adult dance groups that have come out of following our lead. So
cool. Are they all
fun.
Are they all down there, or are they throughout the country?
They're all here. There's some all over the country. Sadly, we all found out about a group that died during that tragedy a couple of weeks ago. That's hard to remember from all the different other tragedies we've had, but the car driving through and all that craziness killed some women who were parading.
Oh, yes.
So now there are groups all over the country. But here we have most of them are female, all female, but because the whole thing was inspired by a group called the Baby Dolls that was at the turn of the century in the 1900s. And that was a group of black prostitutes who would dress as baby dolls and carry baby bottles full of liquor.
Wow.
So we're coming off of that tradition, bringing that tradition back to life and making it open to everybody. And now it's ballooned until now the group everybody in America has seen is the 610 Stompers, who have paraded twice with the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
Yes. That's cool. I was going to ask, the Baby Dolls, though, was that during Prohibition?
No, it was before that, and then during that, and then after that. But they just decided, because back then women weren't allowed to parade, and certainly the black community was not allowed to parade. And so these women were just like, oh, heck with it.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were rebels.
That's cool. They're the ones that get things going a lot of times. That's what it takes.
Exactly. And us getting our group going actually led to a resurgence of various baby doll groups. And now there are tons more baby doll groups because of what happened with our group. So
that's great.
It created a new wave of baby doll groups.
That's cool.
So that's exciting as well.
Awesome. I was going to say, a few months ago, I think, didn't you message me? Was that when you said you were reading the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood book?
Which I finished.
Did you? I was going to say, is it worth it? Like, should I go grab it?
I finished it, and I have lots to say about it. But of course, it's major spoiler alerts if I share everything I have to say. But I will say, as a general note, that anybody who hasn't read it, because they think, well, I already saw the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, well, so over halfway through the book is the ending of the movie.
Yeah,
and
that's what made me I want to go grab it.
The ending of the movie, and it says it as something that's already happened. So if you read the book, you still have to go to the movie, and if you go to the movie, you would still benefit from reading the book because they're very different.
Slim, you never saw the movie at all, right?
No,
yeah, so I think I did. I think I spoiled it for him. He probably doesn't remember because he drinks a lot.
Yeah.
But but it's definitely worth going to the book then. Like when you told me that about halfway through is the ending of the movie, I'm like, I really want to get this now and see what happens. Is it just as tense, right? Laura? Is it just as tense as like the scene where Brad Pitt's character went to the farm or some of those?
Well, see, all that's now handled differently. Like that scene is there. That's handled through the eyes of the girl who is hanging at the Squeaky Fromm character, who is hanging out with the old man at the farm. It's told through her eyes when Cliff arrives. Now, it's also told, we also see it through Cliff's eyes as he's going there. But when we get to the ranch, we're in that character's eyes, and the character that was Dakota Fanning played. So, the book can do things that the movie, it would have been cumbersome for the movie to do, but it's easy for the book to do.
That's great. So that was just like Quentin, is that how it went down? Did Quentin read that book and then what he took from it and made into the movie is what became that movie?
Well, no, he made the movie, and this is a old thing that used to happen a lot in the 60s and 70s. They would do dime store book versions of the movie after the movie already came out. So, like, you would see, like, Serpico, and then you would go to the drugstore after and buy the book for 10 cents and read the paperback of the movie. And they would be very, very similar because the person who wrote the book would just be creating a book of the movie.
Okay.
So this being Quentin doing it, instead of just author to be named later, Quentin made the movie and then he made the book.
Oh.
So it's in a way that is something I've encouraged a long time with him that I'm really excited about, which is that I don't know how much you know about Quentin's writing process and what it is that he leaves out of his movies, but I'm sure you've heard that things get cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for time. And with the book, he doesn't have to do that. And so every idea gets to be a good idea, and every idea gets to find its place. And he doesn't have to cut it out just because it won't fit in 2.5 hours,
Yes.
So,
well, that's why Kill Bill was 2 movies, because it was just way too long for one movie. Right. I remember, but
let me tell you something. I can tell you from the original script of Kill Bill that before the script that I got, that everybody got, that were the actors, before that script was a previous script that opened with like a 7-minute Mickey Mouse cartoon from back when Mickey Mouse was like in the Steamboat days, in the black and white days, and it opened with this Mickey Mouse cartoon about rats, and that never even made it to the script that all the actors saw. So things like that, he gets to keep those in the novel.
Yes. That's cool. That's awesome. So it's maybe what the movie would have been had he been able to. That's even cooler. I didn't even realize it was that he had wrote the book.
I will say, no, if he had never made the movie, this book would be very different, I can tell you that. Because if he had never made the movie, then of course he would have taken the time to describe the flamethrower scene. Whereas when you're reading the book, it's like a half a sentence, because he assumes you've already seen the movie.
Yeah. That scene was amazing. Oh my God.
Right. But in the book, that's just like a sentence because he assumes you've already seen the movie.
Yeah.
But
as you should.
They're meant to be a companion. They're meant to be like, if you liked the movie, you'll enjoy the book. If you liked the book, you'll enjoy the movie. Like they're meant to go together.
That's cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
I was going to ask too, Laura, I've worked with Quentin on multiple occasions. Do you ever randomly hear from him or do you contact him?
Well, to be clear, he and I started as friends. So, that friendship is outside of having done movies together.
So cool. Wow.
His life has changed a lot, though, now.
Yeah.
Because now I doubt he hangs out with any of the old crowd so much because he's now a husband and a daddy,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And he has, a tiny tot, and he spent a good chunk of last year in Israel because of the COVID. So, he's got a whole new life now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something. That is something that changes. I always wonder too, like, is it tough growing up as like somebody like with him as your dad? Like, it's a lot to live up to.
I can't even imagine. I have so many friends who are second generation. I have a bunch of friends whose, in particular, whose fathers were famous.
Yes.
And I can tell you that in LA, what that does is sort of normalizes you. Because you then are not somebody who pursued going to LA. You're somebody who grew up there. So it's a different kind of, like the stereotype of people who are attracted to LA is that they're on a single-minded mission, and so they're, of course, going to be very focused on their own dream, and they're going to be, all about their own dream, and, it's hard to get the attention long-term of anybody who's trying to make their dream come true. Whereas if you grew up there, you didn't go to LA to have a dream, you just were born there.
Yeah, you're going to be there either way.
Yeah, so you might be much more balanced. My experience is that the people who grew up there tend to be more balanced than the people who pursue going there.
So they already understand like how everything works, kind of. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, and it's just normal to them,
Yeah.
It's just normal to them to be surrounded by people who do this for a living, and so they don't have a starry-eyed idea of, oh my gosh, look at all that cool stuff on TV. I want to be part of that. They grew up on sets, or they grew up around musicians, or they're used to a different kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, that's cool. Laura, thank you so much, though.
Yeah.
I can't believe we got to wrap it up. It's always great talking to you.
Oh my gosh, it's so fast.
always does. Definitely, this is our last season, and that's also why I reached out to have you on again, because we've always had such great conversations. I know. It's just so much work.
Well, I'm sad to see y'all go. I'm very excited that you included me in your last season and that you included me in the show all along. It's been really a privilege.
I appreciate it, and it's always been an honor. Always an honor having you on, Laura. Where can everybody find you?
Well, I'm still on Twitter at No Small Parts, KNOW, the name of my book. And you can also find me at lauracayouette.com, which has links to all my other things, YouTube, Pinterest, whatever, and then I have a Facebook pro page, and that's it. But lauracayouette.com is probably the best way to find me.
Awesome, Laura, and yeah, don't be a stranger. Even though we're not doing the show anymore, always feel free to message or any of that.
All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful holiday. Thank you so much for including me, and I wish you well going forward.
Thank you, Laura. We wish you the same.
All right.
Take care.
Y'all have a great night.
You too.